Hey guys, Mumbles here with another New World video, and today we're going to go over exactly what role you might want to play in the game and what weapons you might want to use for that role. There's no specific classes in New World, it's more of a stat building system to what weapons you want to use, and different weapons scale different ways for each type of skill or attributes or anything like that. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly what you might want to think about if you're going to choose one of the three main roles of any MMO as a healer, a tank, or a DPS, and kind of go over the main parts you want to be thinking about when you start building this kind of class building route with all these stats. So let's jump right in, and don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you guys like this, because we will be live definitely on launch day, and then the day after launch day we'll be doing a 24-hour stream, so stay tuned for that. All right, so there are three main roles in any MMO. You have your tanks, your healers, and your DPS. However, with this game there's many different ways to build to accommodate these roles. Now, your tanks are mainly going to be using your straight sword, your warhammer, and sometimes even a life staff. The life staff is usually like a secondary weapon. If you see my wannabe paladin build, which I'll go ahead and post down in the description, that is kind of that kind of build. It's more of a tanky healer. But for the most part, tanks will mainly bring a straight sword or a warhammer. Now, you do need something to also take out a amount of DPS if you need to, after dodging or blocking or anything like that. And those two main weapons are usually going to be your hatchet, spear, or great axe. They're the ones that usually scale with strength and con. Now, for the most part, you want to pair either the sword or the warhammer with something else. That seems to be the go-to two tank weapons. Now, you also want to plan what you want to do. So if you're going to use your warhammer for your CC, your crowd control, and your debuffs and buffs, but you want to bring the great axe for your offense. You can't just think about defense, you have to also think about the offense. With the straight sword, it kind of works both ways. You do have the shield, which gives you a lot more blocking power, so you can take a lot more hits with the sword and shield than you can with the warhammer. A lot of people ran the straight sword and the spear during the betas. This was a very good combination with dealing with the defense of having the shield with the sword, and then also running a spear so you can get the long range throwing ability with a little bit of DPS as well. Now, speaking a little bit of the DPS role, we do have quite a few combinations in the DPS role. Your main weapons for your DPS is going to be your spear, your rapier, your hatchet, bow, musket, fire staff, and ice gauntlet. There is so many different combinations. Rapier bow and rapier musket have been a great combo. But personally, the rapier and fire staff during the open beta, I fell in love with. This accounted for so much damage over time and movability and defense, as well as dealing a lot of offense. The rapier can quickly stack bleeds and then deal all those bleed damage all at once by breaking it with the flourish and finish. You also have the evade ability, which can allow you to get a little bit more mobility. With the fire staff, you also have the turn and burn, or you essentially are running fireball, which gives you a little bit more mobility, and these two abilities together make it so you can get in and out of places pretty darn quick while dealing damage. Now, the fire staff is a big AoE burn ability, so you can actually stack your bleeds with the rapier with the burns of the fire staff, and you can do a lot of damage over time. This is key for big boss fights, as well as anything PvE where you're going against elites that may have higher health. Being able to not take this really one-on-one, you can deal this damage over time and kind of just sit there and farm it the whole time until it dies. Now, I didn't get to play with the Ice Gauntlet. However, I did see a lot of people using it, and it was kind of interesting to see in battle because it does, again, a lot of AoE is the magic kind of feel for this. So AoE is really, really key, and having the ice pylons is really nice because you're doing damage with your Ice Gauntlet and the ice pylons also shooting at your enemy. Now, healing, there's only one healing weapon as of right now in the game, and that is the life staff. And back to my wannabe paladin build, if you take the light staff and a warhammer, that is a great combo. You have the CC, the buffs, and the debuffs from the warhammer, and then the healing ability from the life staff. What I also saw in the betas, and I didn't personally use this, but I did see a lot of people using this, is the straight sword shield with the life staff. Because you can taunt and you can sit there and heal yourself, it was a huge kind of never dying build, which I will also put down below. And it was great for anything PvE. And if you had to sit on a point, like on a war, and you had to claim the point, that was a great build because you could virtually sit there for almost forever unless people are doing over amounts of damage that you're healing. I do recommend early on because you are able to reskill up to level 20, play with the different weapons, see what you like, and then really focus on what weapon combination you find to be the best one for you. I do have multiple videos out there on different builds. For the most part, I was a DPS player. I played Rapier Musket and then Rapier Fire Staff for the most part. And I absolutely love those. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought Musket was a lot of fun. Fire Staff was a lot of fun. I also did do a Warhammer build that was a lot of fun as well. Um, However, I just fell in love with the Rapier and the Musket or the Fire Staff. So I essentially just kind of stuck with that and not really ventured away from that because we were going to war. So having my weapon skill up high was definitely key. As far as more weapons, so far there hasn't been any more weapons officially announced besides the Void Gauntlet, which we don't know anything about. And they did say that new weapons and stuff like that weren't going to be on release just because they wanted to get the core weapons fully balanced first, which really isn't a bad thing. Having these weapons balanced completely for the longevity of the game is key. You don't want to put more weapons in when the core weapons aren't balanced at all. You definitely want to make sure everything's balanced, which at least right now, I think they are almost darn near perfect. There's nothing really overpowered or underpowered right now. So the site I've been using for this video is newworldfans.com, and it has a great feature in it called builds. Right at the top here, you see the build section. And down below here, you can see all the builds that people have played. You can do by likes, filter it, and it'll show the top likes at the top. And you can kind of go through and just see what weapon combos that there are. So if you do like a couple of these combos and you're looking for like mainly PvP, expeditions, just all around, you can kind of filter this out with the different purposes and the weapons. If I want to go PvP, I want to go Great Axe, I hit filter, and it will come up with the top liked sword, Great Axe, weapon combo right here. And you can click on it and see the exact stats they build as well as what abilities they took. You can also build your own and play around with it. So here, if you just hit create a build, it'll come up with your stats. You can see all the different buffs for each stat, and you can kind of go through and just see. You can also put in all your points. Now, so you may be asking what you're trying to build your weapons for and what weapons need to be built by. So spear, great axe, and warhammer. So now you must be wondering what you have to build for each weapon. Well, luckily on this page there is this little question mark, and it'll show you exactly what is primarily built for each stat. So for warhammer, great axe, sword, and hatchet, strength is going to be your primary scaler. Secondary attribute for the spear, so the spear will still scale with strength, however it'll scale at a much lower level, but it'll still scale a little bit. So if you're looking at for a secondary weapon just for a couple abilities or buffs or something like that, you can definitely do that. Dexterity mainly builds your bow, rapier, spear, and musket primarily. And then secondary for the sword and the hatchet. Intelligence is your magic, so your fire staff and ice gauntlet. And then secondary is your rapier and musket. Focus, the only thing focus primarily is the primary attribute for is the life staff. However, what you can do with this is if you do like my paladin build, you can make the life staff, put all your points into focus, but get gear that scales in another stat if you're looking to tank, or if you're looking to also deal some damage, you can get a lot of gear that scales towards dexterity or intelligence. Tanks, constitution only does health, your overall health. So if you're going to be a tank and you want to build up as much health as possible, just not deal as much damage, you want to build straight constitution, and with full constitution stats, full constitution armor, and full constitution like jewelry and all that kind of stuff, your constitution can get incredibly high, and it is extremely hard to kill you at that point. So down below here, you do see the weapon sets. You can choose one weapon and then go to the weapon 2, and then choose your other weapon and choose the abilities, kind of read up on each ability. Now, again, on a release, these may be changed a little bit. They didn't do many changes for open beta, so I think they're honestly pretty close to getting everything balanced. But do be aware, doing this before release, you may end up having some things change. Just be aware that when they release the patch notes. So for the most part, there is no direct way to build specific things. You do want to build to your weapon just so that your weapon will do more damage, especially for expeditions and stuff like that, and wars and outpost rush. You're going to want the higher weapon damage, obviously, to deal output damage. However, if you're going to go straight tank, just go straight constitution. Maybe build a little bit of strength to get like the first tick or something like that. Also look at what you have for armor and what your armor abilities do as well. For the most part, you want to build strength if you're going to build with the Warhammer Great Axe or Sword. And then dexterity if you're going to do the spear. You want to do dexterity if you're doing the spear, the rapier, the bow, or the musket. And then intelligence you want to build if you're doing the ice gauntlet or the fire staff. And then focus if you're doing the life staff. And kind of just play around with it. You can rescale at any point up to level 20 for free. Beyond level 20, it does get a little pricey if you keep doing it. So do it as much as you want below level 20 first, and then figure out what build works best for you. Have some fun with it. Enjoy it. It's a game. It's meant to be played many different ways, and it's brand new. And also go check out some videos. There's plenty of videos out there on new roles, new weapon builds, everything, and how to use specific weapons and what to expect from that weapon. I will probably do my own within the launch period as well, because I do plan on playing around with a little bit. But for the most part, we are mainly going to be focusing on the rapier and the fire staff off the bat, and maybe a little bit of the musket as well. So thank you guys. Make sure you guys drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you guys like this video. Stay tuned for some more videos and when we go live on launch day and the day after for our 24-hour stream. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Goodbye. Deuces, y'all.